All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the World Arena Podcast, aka the WAP Cast.
You failed it. WAP.
WAP.
There you go.
WAP.
Today, Firas and I are joined by Jugg. Thank you for joining us, man. Appreciate it.
No problem. No problem. No problem. What's up?
Long overdue.
Yep. So before we get started, just to touch on the WAP tournament that we're going to be having on Twitch, RTA tournament. We finally hit 1,000 subscribers, so thank you guys again. We kind of like shoehorned that in at the end of last podcast because we forgot to thank you guys. But so the tournament is going to be happening on April 1st. It's the first Saturday after Special League starts. So basically, we can't do it. We're not going to do it this weekend because it's the final week of RTA. We don't want people to have to re-rune. The following weekend, all of RTA shuts down for tally. So you got to go to the next one. So that's when the tournament will be. It's at 8 p.m. Eastern on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/Zigbear, and I'll also put those details down in the description. As we mentioned before, any rank is welcome to play. If you've got like 2 hours to kill, April 1st, Saturday night, come hang out, join the tournament. There's no sign-ups necessary or anything. If you just show up on time, the stream will be started probably a half hour, 45 minutes before it starts. If you're around, join it. Try your hand at it. And the other thing too is we're going to be so basically after the hour of the Goodwill room where everybody's doing their battles and we cut to top 4, I'm also going to be keeping track of everybody who gets top 4 finishes and basically keeping a running tally of that. And eventually we'll do a big tournament with bigger prizes and things like that. And the way you get into that is it'll be like an invite only thing based on, the people, an X amount of people with the most top 4 finishes. So just a little something extra to look forward to, but it's also just, at the end of the day, it's all for fun. So come hang out if you're interested. But yeah.
And I wanted to add in to that is as soon as this episode is released, it'll be in my Discord, which is the WAP Discord as well. I'll be making individual channels for this, so we'll put details of what will be for upcoming on April 1st, what will be banned. If we're not going to say anything solid yet. If you want more details, get into the Discord where Zig and I will finalize everything about it.
Yep.
And we definitely have crystal codes.
Yep.
For 750 for this coming up for April 1st.
Yeah. So first place is going to get a gift card for $30 to whichever app store that they use. So you get a $30 pack, and then the other top 4 participants will get a 750 crystal code. So premium pack or some farming or whatever, just a little something.
Just to start off, until we get some if anybody ever wants to fund it, if you're watching this and you feel like funding a ridiculous tournament with your own rules, because we'll do literally whatever, right? It's not getting doing like a best of 8, best of 8. You know what I mean? Like 8 best players, top 100. It gets a little stale. So we'll do a little something interesting. We'll make our own rules. Maybe with this coming, since everyone's already going to be re-ruined, all their LDs are gone. Maybe we'll keep no LDs plus.
Yeah, they're already not going to be ruined, so
it's going to be
that's true.
Like you'll see some 4-stars out of nowhere, which is maybe I'm spoiling too much as it is, but people should be rooting for it. They want to get a nice head start.
Yeah.
You're probably
in my Discord, I'll make a whole section for it and for WAP tournaments, and we'll have all the details in there.
Yep.
And that's
So back to the regular topic. So we've got 8 days left of this RTA season, so we're getting down to the wire, right about time where I start losing all my points usually, which is exactly what's happening. Yeah. So how's your RTA season been going, Jugg, before we get into specific units?
So before the season, I pulled Volantis, and I was super happy about that because I'm like, okay, Volantis is pretty good, and I was doing moderately well until the balance patch.
Yeah,
and we all know what happened in the balance patch. So, that's when when Manning was buffed, and I can't stand that unit. He's annoying. Like the degeneracy of what the ladder became once that unit became buffed was just too much. I'm G2 right now, and I'm trying to avoid ladder as much as possible because usually every match is like Molly first pick into just like turn 2 RNG units, and I ain't trying to deal with that. So I'll try to coast to the end of the season and get out and hope Balance Patch fixes all of this, because it's too much for me. Too much for me.
Just a quick reminder, this is the chaos that I wanted. I wanted turn 2 chaos this season so people realize how fucking stupid it is.
You got it.
I got it.
You got it. It's bad.
It's so funny
right
how
now.
many people share that like exact same sentiment. Like
It's bad.
for me, like I'm the same way. Apps every night in Discord's like, I'm just gonna get G2. Fuck G3. I'm sick of this shit.
Yeah.
Like everyone's just like, fuck
like,
it. Like I'm done.
everybody I talk to, like during the season, like, because it's like I talk to like just different levels of Guardian players, and everybody is just like, yeah, I'm out. And then I remember like my mod is C3, and he has an account now. He pulled Ragdoll, Jackson, and Yon Hong. So he's like, I'm playing on this account now. And I'm like, I don't blame you. And so I was like, I'm bored. Let me play on your account. So I play on his account. He's in C3. And I kid you not, every match in C3 is Molly first pick into Madden. Like every match is that. And so I was like, man, if you're a C3 and below, just screw the season and just go back to farming and hope
wait till next season.
Fixed. Just wait till it gets fixed, because you're a C3, you're in pain, and I don't blame you at all. It is so bad. It is really bad right now.
I find even G1 is flooded with that, and maybe that's just like some of the people who are just like on a slight win streak out of C3. You know what I mean? So like, because every time I'm on a down streak and I pull a G1, it's like it's got to be a 90% rate that they are that style of draft. It's got to be somewhere in the 90% ballpark.
Because like Firas heard me say this, I was like, how C3 feels right now is like people are picking that, and because technically they're low percentage win units, they don't win as much as they should in that level. So the people that climb out are the people that are just lucky enough to like win most of the time with those drafts. And then they get to like high C3, low G1, and then once they get to G1, they either stay because they're kind of winning with that, and then usually they'll probably run into more people that actually have actual drafts with actual good rune quality, and they just get dunked on and they just fall out. So it's like a nonstop like in and out thing with them.
Yeah. It's because like the units are bringing them to a rank where their runes don't belong, and then they get into that rank, and then they get punished for not having the runes that belong there. So it's like, it's just a weird thing. I mean, I feel that way a lot about like some of the ragdoll players in G3 or whatever. It's like sometimes when you get up against those guys and you ban the rag, their draft is like terrible. There was like no second threat. They die so easy and so fast, and it's like, you are top 300 in the world? What is happening? And it's because ragdoll is getting them somewhere where they shouldn't really be. And I mean, more power to them. It's Comtos' fault. Like,
no, I agree. I've said like how the state of RTA has become. It's like it is like a lot of people are winning based off of just really good RNG, and then you fight them, and it's just like, and you look at their rank after the match, and you're like, wait, how are you higher than me? And I just dunked on you. Like, what's happening right now? And then you realize what they drafted, and you're like, yeah, they're just getting extremely lucky, and it's just carrying them to the high level. It's kind of bad right now, to be honest.
So, all in all, if you're like playing at this rank, like you're used to sitting yourself in a certain rank, and then you're seeing yourself not, don't feel bad, because there's so many.
We're all in the same boat.
It's insane.
Everybody's in the same boat. Everybody.
If you even look at like the top 10 right now, there's some names in here that are not usually in the top 10. Like some guys who are like normally always in this range, they've fallen. You know what I mean? It's because like they're not having the success that they're used to having either. Like even like the top 1% of players is experiencing this thing. I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to like call anybody out like specifically, but like there was someone that I fought last night who's normally like top 20, and he's barely on the G3 line right now. And it's like someone who most people would consider the like one of the top 5 to 10 players in the entire world, and he plays a shitload of wings, and he is barely hanging on to G3, which is insane. But I don't want to like make it sound like I'm making fun of somebody. Like, I don't want to put them on blast for having a bad season, but it's just, it's crazy. It's happening to even the best of players. So just know that.
Like, I don't even think you're making fun of them. I just think that's just the state of the game right now. It's just like, it's such a toss up if like you're doing well. It's just kind of just how it is what it is. People just they just kind of dealt with it. Just kind of make it so far.
Yeah.
The worst part is the people defending their draft when they just layer so many 15% and just call it a viable draft.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Technically, it's viable in the sense that it wins matches. But like, if you can't acknowledge that that's bullshit, you're part of the problem. Like,
you know, because as much even if Comtois makes something, it is still on the player to make their decision if they want to be a degen or not. And if they want to, like I first picked Manon, right, at the beginning of this season. I just wanted to see.
We all wanted to try it. Yeah, I did the same thing.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
He's my first
and I hated it.
Yeah, it didn't last long for me either.
It didn't last long for me. I learned, you know, yes, it's bullshit, and I also saw how many things countered it. I'm like, okay, this is a stupid unit to play. Like, maybe my win rate with her will be like maybe 20% overall. She will grab me wins in the match. So I just ditched her. And then now it's become a core for people because they have Molly. I don't have Molly.
Yeah, so that's the thing. They start layering more and more of those units onto it.
Like, all these dices I have here, like if this row of 4 dice is all the 15s, this blue dice is Molly, this one is Holly, this one is, what's the other bullshit unit we have? How many? What's another?
Zingzay is another one.
We have a 35%.
Yeah, the Josephines and the Junos.
Josephine, Juno, Ragdoll. Like,
yeah, I mean, the list is endless at this point.
Really is.
If I just roll this fucking thing of dice, slap it out, if 1 in 6 is my 15%, it's more like 16% on a dice, but it's about 15%. I just throw this out. Bullshit's gonna happen, especially if it's AoE, right? Yeah. So technically, is it viable? I don't want to say yes, but yes.
I mean, viable, but not respect. You can say viable without saying respectable. Like,
respectable at all. No one respects anybody that drafts like that. Like, it's like you're gonna get crap from anybody when you're fighting. It's like, especially if you know them, you're like, come on, man. Like,
I know, why are you doing this to me, man?
Why are you doing this, man? Like, come on, man. It's like,
are you so desperate to win? Like, desperate for what? A robotic Chimera skin? It looks like ass.
Yeah,
they
are.
Right? It does not work.
They 1000% are.
To each their own, but it looks like I don't even care for skins personally.
Yeah.
Like, just want to play.
You listening, apps? You don't Antares your friends, okay? In case anyone's wondering why Apps hasn't been on the podcast for a couple months.
And Apps don't give a damn. Apps is like I'm gonna do it. I don't care. Like, Apps don't give a damn.
That's why he's so banned from WAP.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's gonna take to redeem himself, but maybe he'll get there.
But like, I mean, I also think, you know, because we're going to be talking about what we think is going to be on this balance patch. But like, I think the biggest issue is like what you just said. Like, we just named such a huge list of units that have this issue. They're not all going to be on a balance. There's no way. There's never going to be a balance.
Hit at least like 3 of them.
Yeah. So it's like, what could they actually do in one balance patch that really gets us out of this mess? I have no idea.
Like, well, first they gotta hit Madden. That's like guaranteed. They gotta hit Madden.
It's just too bullshit.
What do you do to Madden other than reduce her?
I would get rid of her stun. I would make her have to be on despair like an Artemil. It's not fair.
That's really what.
What about the damage though?
Her damage is wicked high, like
or something that gives herself defense buff.
I don't get why she needs an additional turn either. Like, that's so unnecessary. Like,
I've said this. Yeah,
it's the dark one, isn't it?
Huh?
The dark one has it too. Yeah,
Who cares? The dark one is also like the highest win rate unit in all of Summoner's War. So I don't really care if they nerf that either. Like,
like I said,
she is. I mean, she's not picked. Obviously, she's not picked nearly as highly, but it's very clear she's a powerhouse.
Yeah, she's really good. I agree with that. Especially if you have like Shizuka and all this other combination units, you can pretty much sit invincibility.
But like, to me,
it's strong too.
I just don't I don't read that skill and think like that should need an additional turn. Like, why would Artemil's not have an additional turn if that's the case? Like, his is just strictly worse in every way. and his S1 is worse. So it's like, even if Arda got the additional turn, his S1 is still worse. So he still would do less with the additional turn than Manon would. So it's like, where do they come up with this shit? Like, why does she get an additional turn?
I say this all the time. Like, I just don't understand, because I feel like Josephine's in the same boat as Manon, where it's like they do too much off of just like kind of just sitting there, which is it just doesn't make any sense to me, because like turn 2 has become a thing where it's like turn 2 has become a thing where it's like you're punished for just playing the game, and I don't understand why they want it to become like that, where it's like they don't have to. It never used to be that way. It used to be like, if you were a turn 2 player, if you had really good runes, like that would pretty much outshine a lot of turn 1 compositions. Where it's like, if you have better runes in the turn 1, then you can survive anything and you'll just beat them down on turn 2, which is fine. That's the way you should play turn 2. But now it's become a thing where it's like, all right, I'm gonna put these 4 units down, and it's like, if I get lucky enough, I'm gonna win. It doesn't matter if you have better runes or not. I just gotta get lucky enough. I just gotta get a stun here, a revenge here, this here, and I'll be fine. Like it's become terrible, absolutely terrible to play against.
Yeah, 100% agree.
And it's not even a chance anymore, right? That's, well, again, we're reiterating what everybody said, but it's just not a chance anymore to play. It's a viable play style now.
Yeah, it's becoming viable. Like, I still don't understand. Like, Josephine, like for me, Josephine and Manon are probably top of the tier list. I mean, top of the like the balance patch, because I still don't understand how Josephine with a 1 turn cooldown can do like 8 things. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, if you stun a unit, she literally gets to do like 8 things, and it's just like, okay, like we can leave her this way, but it's like, why is it still a 1 turn cooldown? Like, it should be like, it happens, you get that protection, you get that revenge, you may get the provoke, that's fine. But it's violent procs, she gets to do it again. So it's like, why
immediately gets to do it again?
Immediately. Yeah. Like, I don't understand. It's like she could do the exact same thing again, and if she violent procs again, she could do it again. So that's where it just becomes like super toxic, and that's why I feel like, like I agree, like the passive needs to be 1 extra turn, or they gotta take something away. Because I don't understand why she gets an additional turn off all of that. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
No, I know, and this is like, they've run into this issue so many times where they have these turns, that they have these units that have built-in additional turns, and it always goes south. They did it with Joe Gunn. They did it with what's her face, John. They did it with fucking Diana. They do it, like, they always have this same issue, and it's like, guys, stop letting units receive Vio additional turns after they receive a different form of an additional turn, whether it's passive or skill. Don't let them chain an additional turn off of an additional turn. Like, the affix, or like not the affix, but like the pop-up of additional turn should then turn off the ability to additional turn a second time. Whether you get that through runes, whether you get that through passive, like, there's no reason you should be able to proc. Like, this was Diana's problem when she would go 5 turns in a row and just decimate an entire team. It happened in SWC one year where she basically just like machine gunned down an entire team on turn 1, and it was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you just... And then they're like, well, maybe we have to like buff on Taurus. It's like, or just like, don't let her do that. Hello? What?
Yeah. I don't understand how that logic. Because pretty much that's when it went downhill, right?
Yeah, that's when it started, where it's like...
Instead of nerfing the unit that was going ham,
we're going to combat it with RNG.
Yeah, combat it with more RNG. And then you have an RNG to combat that RNG, and it just reached to the point we're at now. And either it's going to get worse, which is hard to imagine, or they'll actually revert. It's not going to revert much, though. You can't expect...
I mean, Jean took over the game for like a season and a half being built on Vio Revenge, to the point where it was just like, so she's doing things on her Revenge, a stun and a heal. She has a skill that does an additional turn. Then she has a rune set that that can proc an additional turn off of her additional turn. It's like, why do you guys let this shit happen? I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
Well, things happen. Like the job meta was probably... I still rank job meta as probably one of the worst metas we've ever had, because like,
those
I think
were
that
long
was
games. Yeah.
Everybody was just like... That's when like Veramos was like even like when pre-nerf, pre-buff,
pre-buffed, yeah,
pheromones,
you still used it,
like,
yeah.
It's like I gotta use this unit. Everybody was like, well, that's when Ver was accepted as a counter for John, because it's like you gotta get out of this provoke. Like it was bad. Like it was one of the worst metas we quite literally have ever had.
It was almost like Ganny Hathor, but because she had the built-in additional turn, she didn't need the Ganny. If she was lucky enough, you were permanently provoked. Just like with a Ganny and a Hathor, you were permanently slept. She could do it by herself with enough luck. And it's like, that's not
some
okay.
Very good games on my YouTube when I had Nyx
with 3-turn provokes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, no. That sounds terrible.
Bird was the bane of my existence.
No, they never learn, though. They never learn.
No.
You still just get these units. It's like Josephine is somehow still receiving buffs. Like she's been strong for like a year and she's still on every other balance patch. Getting a buff, not a nerf, getting a buff. I don't get it.
This is why I said I never want to own a Josephine. Like I've summoned one Josephine and I fed her to a slime. I don't want to own that unit. I don't like her. It's a well-known thing.
I don't like the concept of her either.
You know, I used to be like one of the first people on this earth that used Josephine when she first came out. When she would only proc when when only she got stunned. And at that moment, I'm like, if she just did like this one little thing, she was good. And then if she just said, and then again after they added on one little thing, if she did it like a little bit more,
yeah, they just keep going and going and going.
And then if we had a little bit more,
yeah, it's
better
like
against CC.
They keep inching her more and more.
Yeah.
But instead of nerfing the full AoE pushback CC stun, not be so like disgustingly absurd, like just all the time. They just keep making this one unit so good that it just nerfs or it counters everything, which is like the opposite of what you need for a counter pick that it counters everything in the game. A counter pick unit should be specific to 1-2 units in that draft, not the entire draft.
Yeah.
All the
and like
time.
what is like the theoretical counter to Josephine supposed to be? Because like I can't even figure, like she's doing this in an Oliver Chungpung meta.
Here's the counter.
So what is the counter?
You hope she does a valid proc after her passive proc.
Yeah, you just take the passive and hope it doesn't.
Because I make a joke that I feel like Josephine is the best LD5 in the game because it doesn't make any sense that I could pick Oliver and Chung Pung and she's literally locking them both down. It's like that makes no sense to me. How a water unit can lock down the 2 units that counter her the most. Because if they prevent her from her passive coming up and prevent her from getting a turn, she's literally useless. But she could just go like stun. All right, cool. I'm gonna just lock down the rest of your whole team now. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
And then as soon as she gets the revenge buff up, now you don't want to shoot it with the Oliver, because then even if you reset it, you get revenge stunned in return, and it's like, oh my god, she's so oppressive.
That stun rate is at 65%. Is it 65 or 70?
70.
70? Oh god. Oh.
What win rate is
and she has an AC lead and now doesn't need crit rate anymore to deal damage. So it's like it's effortless to ruin that unit. And it's
just like it's like as soon as you see your opponent just pick, like if they pick like more or just like anything else, it's just dropping Josephine and Juno and you pretty much kill you're pretty much probably gonna win the game.
Duo is devastating. Like
J and J.
they complement each other way too well and like They basically just make it where like the odds that something bad happens to your opponent on their turn is like higher than the chance that something good happens. Even though it's their turn and they're doing things to you, it's more likely that something bad happens to them than something good, because it's like, oh, I stunned the Juno. Now it has speed buff and it's going to heal the team and it activated the Josephine. So now I'm getting revenge. Now everything is shielded. And it's like, what the fuck is going on?
I'm telling you, it's like you literally do one thing and like they get like 50. And it's like, what's happening here?
Yeah, this whole chain reaction triggers off of like a despair stun happened to hit the Juno.
Yeah,
it's like
crazy. And it's common. It's common. It's not super common. It's not rare. It's common.
Yeah, I mean technically 1 out of every 4 times, right? You have a 25% chance to stun the Juno.
Very common.
And then that whole chain reaction happens.
And I don't get those people who are like, oh, poor Volantis owner, but it's like, that's why, like, even now, it's like if I'm on ladder, it's like I want to pick Volantis, but I genuinely can't, because if I drop him too early, then I'm gonna see Gino Josephine. But if I drop him too late, there's a potential that he could be taken, and I gotta fight Volantis now. So it's just like it's like a push and pull effect where it's just like you want to take him before your opponent you probably know has him takes him, but it's like you know what you're gonna fight as soon as you take him pretty early. So it's like it's pretty rough. But even then, it's like matches I don't pick Volantis. It's like if I just first pick more, and so once I do that, it's immediate Juno Josephine, and it's like I gotta fight that. Like Josephine, Juno, I'm kind of okay with, but Josephine is just a terror because if she pops off, there's not much I can do besides just get locked down by a water unit that's destroying all my win units. So it's just how it is.
Yeah. And like I honestly, I mean, I hate Volantis too, especially when people pick those, like if the Juno Josephine player also owns a Volantis, then it's I can't click an AoE. Like that's suicide. My team instantly dies if I click an AoE. So it's like
they get a big old heal and it's like you're just screwed.
But the biggest issue with, in my opinion, Volantis and Josephine both have this exact same effect that is super, super toxic, is that they strip, provoke into them both having a revenge stun. So it's a 2-turn strip CC that you cannot Vioproc out of, because if you get stunned on a revenge, you lose the opportunity to proc. You literally don't even have the chance to proc. So it's super, super oppressive. It's like you get, like Volantis is literally a strip Hathor on everything he provokes, because it's a 2-turn lockdown that you cannot proc out of. You physically cannot proc out of it. So it's like, and they both have that same mechanic. It's like,
I'm not even arguing with you. Like I know, like even
it
before
should be strip stun. It shouldn't be provoke. Provoke is too toxic if they also have a revenge stun, because now you're just perma-locked.
I'd be like 1000% okay with that. Like when Volantis got nerfed, everybody thought I was gonna be mad about it. I was like, no, like 50% is pretty high when you're actually using a unit, because it's like he's really strong, and he's like one of those units where it's like it's like Josephine with revenge on, but it's kind of the same thing, not fully, but it's like they don't want to touch him because they know what's gonna happen if they touch Volantis. The chance he'll revenge stun him, and it's like, well, I tried, and they couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, and I agree. The issue too, it's like if the turn 1 team that's fighting the Volantis or the Verd or whatever it is that has like some sort of revenge mechanic, like if you want to make that team consistent and work, you usually have to bring 2 AoE strippers, right? And the second that, like, let's say Chiwu or whatever, if you're still using Chiwu, he goes and he actually doesn't get revenged by the Volantis, but you missed on the Shizuka, you still now have to click your second AoE strip into that Volantis and try him again. So it's like there's nothing you can do about it. You can't just not click your next one. You're fine.
It's a dangerous game.
Yep. So now 40% turns into something you have to fight twice, and it's like, fuck.
I don't get why Volantis is still getting 20 bar.
20 bar is a lot. They don't even, every attack buffer that they've come out with in the past like couple years, none of them even buff 20% total. Yeah. Like even like the new wind guy, he gets 15. Like you're getting cut.
You see what because like, you know, because again, it's like it's not privilege, but it's like Tia Lang thing. It's like when you pick them both together, it's like what you said like with Oliver and Tia Lang. It's like it's kind of the same thing. Even though I pick them together, it's like it doesn't really matter too much because like you're still getting a benefit no matter what. So it's just like I agree. Like Volantis is pretty strong. He is my highest win rate unit. So it's like he's good because of the fact that he could. It's like if you touch him, the game goes south immediately. It's just like you touch him, he gets up attack bar, then he does skill 3, and the game's pretty much over. Yep. It happens a lot. Yeah, I can tell you that. So, guaranteed. Happens all the time.
So we're all pretty much in agreement that Manon should probably be like the first line on the balance match. Yeah. Like even if people like, you can make any argument you want that like, oh, she's not that good or win rates doesn't really justify a nerf. She's unfun. She's unhealthy for the game. Like I don't give a fuck what her win rate is. Like if you started typing a comment about win rate, like just delete it because I don't give a fuck. She's unfun and she's toxic.
I care less what win rate.
No, whenever we had this, I remember when I had this conversation on the comments stream, and I can't tell you how many people were like, well, Manon's not that bad. Like, they should really tackle Ragdoll. It's like, okay, here's the thing. We're not going to do this because, like, we have to consider, like, how big of an annoyance Manon is. It's like, it's not about the win rate. It's about just, like, Like she's not fun.
If it's making the game miserable to play,
it's making
that's a bad unit. Like,
yeah, it's a very, very bad unit. No one wants to fight. This unit can have a 0% win rate. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like she doesn't make the game fun. Like for me, it's like, again, she's like brain rotted people into picking like this very turn 2 degenerate stuff, and it's like that's where the game becomes like super unfun, because it's like she's now enabling this type of play to be viable where it wasn't viable before she was buffed.
Yep.
Nobody was doing this before she was buffed.
You pretty much had to have Ragdoll to be able to even
Yeah.
attempt that type of team.
Yeah, now people without Ragdoll are just doing it. They're just doing all this turn 2 degeneracy, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
I hope I win enough, and that's it. So if we actually like put her to a point where people can actually like, you know, draft normal stuff again, then we're fine. But like literally, this is like a top to down issue. This isn't a Guardian issue. This is literally, I've talked to many people in Conqueror.
It gets worse the lower you go.
Yeah, it gets way worse. Like I said, like, as a person that's playing on a C3 account, it is way worse. I see more Madden in C3 than I do in Guardian. That should tell you something. That should really tell you something. It is really, really, really
not
bad.
Encouraging at all for anyone to play.
Yeah.
And then,
they're quitting.
In case anybody wants to argue as well on the fact that if you say, oh, you should account for it in your draft, and let's say I did. I took my Molong.
How?
It doesn't matter what you play.
I know, this is what I'm getting at. Look, there's a lot of normally my win rate against Manon is really high. It just takes a very key 15% parry, you know, right? And it's literally the Molong Reckless. Do
you remember my clip from the other day with the Daphnis?
I still have the replay. I could upload it and show you right now. I lost an entire match because the moment my Reckless goes through, he's done for. He's automatically out of the whole fucking game. But because it gets the 15% parry on my Reckless from Molong, I lose the game. Now, how often does this happen? It's happened more than I can count on both my hands now, right? Does that mean that it's overpowered? No. Does it mean it's a load massive shit because I'm trying to get into top 100 so that I can compete in SWC? Yes, because that's the shittiest way
to get gatekeeped. Like,
on top of 15 res, on top of glancing, 15 glancing from Molly, on top of now we have to add the parry, on top of my 15% chance to clear the ragdoll team, on top of the despair that could happen to me, on top of that, I now just have a total negation of my skill that has gone into cooldown. I have taken the full damage on my Molong. I can't remember. Does he take the damage? I don't know. I can never.
No.
He doesn't.
He doesn't take.
He doesn't.
Okay,
no.
but I still lose the skill.
Yeah, it's a super long cooldown too.
Right, but the game's done though, because of course she parries and then she counter stuns me. So it's like I have the full cooldown plus I'm stunned.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Well, I had a super funny clip from, as my viewers like to say, at my quarterly stream that I did the other week, where I had my Daphnis was up, and like I did an S2 to reset this guy's Abellio, and the Manon revenges me and hits me for like, I don't know, 6 million damage. My Daphnis is at like 10%, and then my Zabala moves and I boost my Daphnis back up to throw an S3 after I've reset the Abellio. The Manon parries that S3 and then KOs my Daphnis. So like my Daphnis, the only unit to have moved in this entire match was my Daphnis twice. He's dead and did 0 damage in the process. It's like, what the fuck?
And you're just like, what's happening right now?
Yeah,
like you're just
it doesn't matter if it happens like 1 in 30 wings.
Yeah. I'm the only person to have moved, and I've lost a unit and done no damage.
That's the definition of a turn 0 team.
Yeah, it's like
your opponent didn't click a single skill and you died.
Yeah. It's like I can't tell you how many games where it's just like I'll do like I still remember this one game where it's like I went first time with Moore, and it was against Manon, Zingzi, Kinky, and I forgot what else, and I did S2.
The Moore just died.
I got quad revenge and my Moore died immediately. I was like, yep, this is where we're at. This is where we're at.
Welcome.
He just got deleted, and my Moore's not super squishy. He's like 30k HP. So when that happened, I was just like, this is where we're.
Yep. See you later.
Yeah, see you next game, Moore.
so here's what we can do. We can do, just so that we don't piss everybody off. We can do 5 turn 2 units. We expect we want to have nerfed, and 5 turn 1, just so that everyone doesn't lose their fucking shit.
Okay, let's start with the turn one. We already
Well, yeah,
roasted
let's
enough
jump.
turns.
Yeah, let's bounce back and forth. So,
All right.
Oliver.
Yeah.
Just get Oliver.
Oliver.
yeah, let's get the easy one out of the way.
I hate we're almost this podcast almost 1 year ago started with Oliver.
We're still here.
We're still we here. Can shut it fucking down, please. God damn it!
Like I said, like once they gave him a 33, they dug their hole because now they're trying to do small little tweaks, and it's like, well, the problem is still is 33 come to us, so it's like it's either you lower it or get rid of it or go from there. And they're like, nah, we're not gonna get rid of it, but we'll do this. It's like, yeah, but he's still the highest pick rate unit in the game. His win rate has gone down, but he still has like a 60% pick rate. It's like people are still gonna pick Oliver. Like it doesn't matter. He's still the best 33. He's still really good. So it doesn't matter these small tweaks you're doing. They're still gonna pick him as long as he's still relatively good and has that 33. It doesn't matter.
And I hate the argument of say we need Oliver to counter the LDs, but if the LD guy takes the Oliver, what are you doing?
You're screwed. Yeah.
I know. No one ever thinks of the other part. Like, wait, you mean that guy can also own the unit? Like, wait a second.
He's not going to take the Oliver. Nerf it to the ground. Okay, wait, Jugg. I think we spoke about it last. No, obviously not the emergency WAP one, but the one before it. I said that the S3 absorb there should be 0 bar manipulation in that S3, right?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
What did you say?
My nerf is the S2 should not reduce the cooldown of his skills. And all you have to do to not nerf the other ones is just make Daniel and John's S3 1 turn less cooldown. Because then it's literally the exact same thing for them. But you stop his chain. Because then all he can do is on his turn 1, he can still reset 2 things, which is good value. I mean, Chung Punk can reset all 4 things, so I don't think resetting 2 things is that extreme. What gets extreme with Oliver is he has an endless chain of resetting 2 things. So if you remove this, the chain is gone. We can all acknowledge a 1-turn reset on one thing and a 2-turn reset on another thing, assuming every single part of your skill lands, is okay.
It's okay.
But you cannot do it endlessly. That's too far, Oliver.
That's my issue with him.
Your idea is more aggressive than mine, then I want to go with your idea. I think
I agree with that. I agree with the S2 idea. The S idea is fine with me.
Okay. If it makes them worse with the S2, we'll do the S2 idea. Okay. And what's your idea, Jugg?
Well, he was saying speed lead, which I also I'm cool with that too.
Lead. For me, it's a speed lead. I think because it's I feel like removing the 33 is maybe going to be problematic, but at the same time, it's I think as long as he has a speed lead, he'll probably still be picked. So it's we're gonna keep doing this thing where it's they have to keep tackling his skills because they're just not gonna remove the speed lead. So it's they have to tackle his skills to the point where it's his win rate kind of goes. I mean, it's not his win rate. His win rate is his pick rate. We have to get him to a point where his pick rate is not literally 60%. That's way too high. That shows that he's way too good, and everybody values him in every single draft.
Isn't the way to nerf his pick rate is to nerf his win rate? Him as a 33 lead, his win rate should be equivalent to Samath and Vanessa.
Not even. It should be lower because people are first picking him. A first picked unit who's being slammed into teams you don't even know what you're fighting yet should have a low win rate. Your win rate's supposed to be low at that point.
You know what? Give them both nerfs. Now that I fucking think about it, because we want his win rate to I want his win rate that bad. He has to be equivalent to Samath and Vanessa. Give him the S2 nerf and the S3 nerf. Give Daniel and John the S3 cooldown on the one reduction on it. Give them both. Keep the 33 lead. Give him that double nerf, and then there's no way in fuck he still maintains such insane.
Oh no, you wouldn't even use him. Vanessa would literally be better.
That's why I said as I said, put about 24. I'm fine with him because I think the problem with him being a 33 is that it's a lot of people kind of edge out because they have that 33 lead compared to most people are going to have 24s. Because if you get Oliver, you're probably not picking some up with Vanessa. You're probably not doing that. So it's people usually get that edge because they're 33, even if they have lower base speed units or whatever. Sometimes they get that edge because they're 33. So I'm fine with him being lower to a 24. I think that's okay.
Me too. All right, so next turn 2 unit. I mean,
Did we say Josephine?
We already okay. Let's put Josephine on that list because we already did our spiel with her and go to one that we haven't talked about because like the actual highest win rate turn 2 unit right now is Molly, and she is just like she's just a fucking menace. Like I don't even turn 1 players are just last picking her, turn 2 players are just first picking her, and like it's like this.
This man is wild.
I think she's just adding to the other guys, right?
She is.
The other ones are gone
in an extreme way.
But I don't think she needs to be even like spoken about. Honestly, look
at these runes that I use on. Dude, this is like F3 level runes of like you pick her and you just win. Like you just get her in the right match and you just win. There's no runes required. There's no like second thought required. You just pick her and you win.
She's literally a unit that just sits there. And that's her value.
She just exists.
That's her value. She has really good value just sitting there.
Strip. Don't say she can't strip. She can strip.
She can strip on
that spawn.
There you go. So she's good.
She does.
I don't think she's like the issue there. I think I'm kind of with her. Talk about Gooey for a second.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. So
that's my least favorite unit in some
me. Okay, so yeah, I've heard this plenty of times when it comes to her. I'm in the boat where I think she is fine because I think she serves her purpose, and that's kind of it. Because like she is there to just be an annoying piece of poop. Like that's her job, and past that, like you can still beat this unit. Because there are still some really good like wind units that are getting into her. There's some good fire units obviously that are getting into her. But like for me personally, I think she's annoying, but that's like as high as it goes. I don't think she's busted or she needs a nerf. I think she serves her purpose and she's fine for the meta in a sense. Like we're supposed to hate her. Like but she's not like Josephine levels of hate where it's like, okay, she does way too much and we need to like put her down. Like she doesn't do that much if we're being honest. Like she does enough to like deter you and that's it. So I think I'm personally fine with her. I think she's okay.
I remember when I was first talking about buffing Gooey, it was just to have her at 30% bar because she started at 25. I said notch her to 30, see if that's good enough, and then take her to 35. I'm not sure if she's notched down to 30, she would still be as good or serve the same purpose of annoyance.
I don't think any of that even I don't even think that bar buff mattered. I think the meta just shifted into like, oh wait, we're already picking Molly and Josephine and Manon. Why don't we just put this annoying piece of shit next to them? And now she just offers defense breaks to this team that otherwise wouldn't have defense breaks. Now she just offers like a way to, pester the Oliver and make him pay 50% of his health, or like, it's just like, I think her biggest issue is she exists at the same time as Molly's like one of the best units in the game.
Think she might be an innocent bystander?
I think she is. Yeah. Like, I don't even know if this bar percentage even matters. Like if it was back to 25, I don't even think we'd notice the difference.
Yeah, she like serves her purpose of like slowing you down, which is what Karma is literally supposed to do. Karma is supposed to slow you down theoretically, where it's like if you have Karma, you're now in that situation where you're like, do I use this skill because I need it right now, or do I wait off? But if I wait off, probably gonna die. So I gotta take that risk, and you use the skill because you just sometimes have to take that risk. So I'm fine with it because we're in a spot where Karma now serves the purpose it was supposed to do when they first came out, which is like make you make a choice in the game, which is fine. I think that's totally great because I like units that like make you think like kind of differently when it comes to like how they're played in the game. Like it has to be a thing.
Yeah, she is in the line where she's what she's gonna do kind of turn 2 unit. The only thing you can't predict is the stun, right?
Exactly.
45 rate. That's probably the only annoying thing. But
exactly.
I would hate to see her completely gone because she's a unit I should personally be using more if I had like all the other turn 2 units for myself.
Yeah, she's good.
But I can't really use her on my account yet.
So for turn 2, then we'll call it Manon and Josephine right now. So we'll go back to a turn 1 unit.
What about Douglas? I want to shit on Douglas.
Well, no. We're bouncing back and forth. If we just hammer the turn 2 units, then everyone's gonna lose their shit in the comments. So
this wouldn't be a WAP without a Douglas shit.
All right. So next one. I believe this is the second most picked turn 1 unit, which is more, I think, right now. I think he's the second most picked.
No, yeah, you're correct.
So,
he's under Oliver.
I mean, what do you guys think? Does he deserve a nerf or what?
No.
I have to show this
No.
artifact.
I do think it's strange that how he somehow got away with like still having a better S2 than what he started with when he was like already the best water unit in the game, where it's like they buffed it, then they half nerfed it, and then you still have a buffed more from when he was already the best water unit.
I cannot justify it why he was buffed like 2 patches. Why?
It wasn't for him, obviously. There's no way they it was for a talisman, but like there's no way they looked at this guy's pick rate and were like, he needs to be buffed.
If they wanted to really buff Talisman and Ken or whatever, at least they could have just kept them at 20% and then somehow shot on more. Like, I hate that he got buffed because I hate fighting these types of units. I hate using them and fighting them. They're just as bad as tier 2 units.
Yeah, I mean, my thing with Moore has always been like, I mean, my original thing with Moore when he was like taking over the game, when Street Fighters first got allowed, it's like this unit never should have had a speed lead. Like this passive and this S2 is not a unit you give a speed lead to. That is just ignorant on their part to give this unit a speed lead. But at this point, it's not going away.
I just realized he's an attack type at 11,000 HP. That is really good.
His base stats are impeccable.
I never looked at that. I was like, wait, he has 11,000 HP for an attack type? That is unheard of.
Like, if this was like he's like, wouldn't you say he has legendary stats of a Pokemon Zig?
Yeah,
just like how Oliver, like he's
like a pseudo legendary. Those random Pokemon that they drop in that just have way higher, it's called BST in Pokemon, base stat total, than the rest. It's like it's just perfect. And an Ack Awakening. Like just to sprinkle it like a little extra on top.
I don't know how they can nerf this idiot anymore.
I mean, this needs an extra cooldown. It's wicked short, especially because now
I'm 100%
that's the only thing, because me personally, when it comes to more, because I used to not want to use this unit, but I feel like if you're a turn 1 player, he's now become essential.
You have
to use him because of the fact that you're like because I used to pick Chiwu a lot, and it's like
now he counters it. Yeah.
You have to fight Vert, you have to fight Terrace, you have to fight
Douglas. Him. He counters Chiwu more than anyone.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he became a literal essential unit for turn 1 because of like what you have to fight when you pick like your turn 1 unit. So that's why like I kind of leaned into more, and I made a really good more because I'm like I need this unit now, because if I'm going to fight these units, I need a unit that's really good into that. So that's why I kind of feel with more. I do feel like where more becomes exceptionally good is late game, where it's like if he's one of the last units to be alive, he can solo pretty well. I've won a lot
just about anything.
I shared a replay where it was just like I think it was my Moore in a TN lane versus a Nana with 3 stacks and everybody was alive and Moore won.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yep, that's more. That's more late game. Yep. You could just pop his passive. He'll get an extra turn. If he's fast enough, he could probably lap. He can spin again. He has his passive up. And he can just keep doing it as long as he's fast enough. If you have a fast enough more, he can 1v4.
Yeah, or he beats Riley in a 1v1 if he's fast enough, because she will literally never damage him because his passive will never not be up when she goes to attack.
Mm-hmm. And don't forget the bio builds now.
No,
so if they added an extra turn to his passive, I'd be okay with that, because I feel like not even the issue, but I feel like his really strong point is when it becomes late game, because if he's on the spare late game, and especially with double attack Moors, he can just like wipe out your whole entire team if you have really good artifacts and good runes. Like that's where he becomes really, really strong. And I feel like a turn 1 late game unit should not really be doing that. Like I feel like if it's a 1v4, I feel like it's a 1v4, like there shouldn't be that, that glimmer of hope that you can still win this. I feel like it should be like, all right, I'm just done.
Especially when his counterpart is basically Chiwu. They're almost the exact same unit, like in speed lead and effect and all that stuff and what their skills do. And like, I mean, Chiwu after turn 1 is one of the worst units in the game. After turn 1, Moore is one of the best units in the the difference is astronomical.
Yeah, his value goes up as the game goes on, which is crazy. Like it's like Chiwu's goes down immediately. It just drops to the floor. But more is like, oh, I'm still here. I got an attack break. I can still beat Douglas. I can still stun if possible. I can attack break aggressive units. I can still spin AoE stun. Like it just goes up dramatically.
Yeah. So speaking of Douglas, back over to turn 2 units. I mean, come to us. Wake up.
Wake the fuck up.
This cannot still exist in 2023.
I fought a guy who took Volantis, Veronica, Yon Hong, Pontos, and his last pick was Douglas.
That happens all the time.
What did I have to ban? There is not another unit in this entire game that this man could have drafted. He could have taken another LD5.
He sure could.
Anything. Literally anything. It could have been a speed lead, and I would ban something different. But I was forced to ban the Douglas because I'm competing with this man's 4 LD draft, which is perfectly fine, but this Douglas isn't. Yep. If you guys do not understand how stupid this unit is when you're drafting against him, and how you have to account for it at the beginning of the draft when you're fighting a guy with 5 LDs, I don't know how to explain this anymore. So I'm just going to shut up.
Yeah, it strangles your ability to draft, because it's like every draft that I go into for the entire draft, I'm thinking to myself, I have to somehow counter and play versus everything that I see in front of me, but I also have to draft against the theoretical Douglas that hasn't even been picked yet. Because if I don't, and it is picked, then I lose.
It's in the back of your mind. It's a
guardian you know thing. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. It's like, that's why, like for me personally, it's like I don't worry too much about Douglas, because it's like I first pick more, and I can always last pick Wool Young, and it's like okay, you drop the Douglas, and if I have the last pick, I'm okay because I have Wool Young in the pocket, but it's like, I know if I don't have the last pick, I'm like, you can drop that Douglas at any time. And it's like, it's going to happen. You know it's going to happen. You know, you're like, he's going to drop the Douglas. He's 1,000% going to do it. So you kind of have to preemptively have your draft ready for a Douglas, because it's just how.
But you also have to be the thing, like what's in front of you too. So it's like, it's just, I hate it. I hate this unit so much. I hate what he does to the draft.
It's a useless mind game, though.
Yeah, it's such a like the annoyance for me with Douglas is because it's such a mind game where it's like if they last pick it, then it's like, all right, are they gonna ban them? Like if I have more, and more is like the only unit there that really hard.
It's just a 50-50.
I have to be like, is he gonna ban that unit, or is he gonna ban another unit? So now I have to play the guessing game of like, okay, well maybe he won't ban them more. If he bans them more, you lose. You don't win. It's impossible.
I just had that. I think that was my last wing. No. Shit. What was that one? I had one last night where I had to go AFK and I autoed. Remember for us? Yeah, this one right here, where it's like this guy, this is just a 50-50 on his part. It's like, if I ban his more, he needs to ban my Douglas, or he will not win this match under any circumstance. But if I ban his Oliver,
by the way,
and he leaves Wedja and Zabala, I'm going first, and now he can't win either. So it's like this guy just has to flip a coin, hope for the best. I banned his more, he left the Douglas. I went AFK, I won.
I have to show you something right now. Oh my god.
And I know like the response is gonna be like this. The response is quite literally always, well, what are we supposed to do? And it's like, I'm sorry, this is gonna sound super elitist, but why not just farm more, get better runes, so you don't have to resort to stuff like this? Because I feel like when you get to the point where like, because I don't even pick Douglas, and I'm fine. I mean, obviously I have LD5s, but it's like at the same time, it's like, you know, like I farmed a lot. I've gotten the runes to not rely on units like that where I had to put like I had to like kind of chance it myself. Like I don't like that. I don't like units where the consistency is pretty off. And Douglas is pretty much that unit where it's like I can pick him and he could be consistently bad or consistently good. I hate that. I just want units that are like consistently, for the most part, pretty good, and they do their part and they do well. When I had to like keep making, like when I had to like play this guessing game of maybe they'll be good or maybe they'll be bad. It's like I don't like that person. That just ruins it for me.
Yeah, it's brutal, and I mean it's just like. And everybody too, it's like they want you to fix your builds to like fix it to beat them, and it's like you can't, because it's like you're never gonna have. if you're playing any form of a turn 1 team, you're never going to have more attack than this Douglas right now. It's not possible. If you have the second you equip a speed slot 2, you are out of the running for having more attack than this Douglas. So by default, you have a chance to glance, and if you have a chance to glance, you have a chance to lose. And it's like, so it's this unit just needs to go. I don't care what the win rate is, the pick rate is. It's completely irrelevant in my eyes.
I think if they take out I don't know what do you even do to Douglas? Honestly, like
I would yeet that cleanse right back out of here because like people were already winning with him. Like when he first came out and didn't cleanse, like you could still pick him into heavy wind and they would never beat him. He didn't need that cleanse to beat the shit out of every wind unit ever. Like
I agree with that.
They added that and now he's beating water units. Like it's his job.
Yeah. If he attacks based on more, I lose it.
Yep.
I lose it. I'm like,
make his passive a maximum of 15%. I don't give a shit. 15% chance to glance.
You
add it with the Molly, you're at either it's 2 separate 15 activations or you get a 50. I don't give a shit. If I take I don't have a single win unit in my draft, and you can take this unit and beat me through glancing. That's not a drafting issue. That's a unit issue, which is not from my end. From you, like Compt was making this bullshit unit. 50% chance to just beat my team just because it's HP based.
Yep.
No. Bullshit. And then there's no wind units in my team either. And you just beat me because I have no attack. That's the dumbest thing. The dumbest. Remove the glancing or remove the cleansing. I could say that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm honestly like, what? So to go back to bounce back to turn 1. Well, like, I mean, there's some like units that I could see getting tweaked. I don't really know outside of LD5s if I can think of one that definitively needs a nerf.
Chung Pung.
Yeah, I guess.
I want Chung Pung just fucking.
I again, Chung Pung user, but I feel like he's in a spot where it's like he has a lot of counters now, like a lot.
He has so many to the point I don't even rune him anymore. And I was like the biggest Chung Pung stan for. I pulled him the day Art Masters came out, and I've been using him ever since. It's just like counter overload now. I can't even find him, but he's not ruined. He's not in my box. Yeah, this guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that S3 has to be.
I'd be perfectly. I mean, obviously, I'm cool with the unit. I'm not even fucking using it. If we're talking about nerfing
all these turn 2 units, Chung Pung's S3 has to be toned down as well. I can't. It doesn't make sense. Now? Remember when they buffed him, right? Because he used to be 60% per hit, and then he didn't have that S2, right? They gave him both in one pack.
No, he was 50% bar per hit, and now
was it 50?
This is what broke the game. Okay.
Yeah, that's when they gave him a strip.
This has a 2-turn cooldown. It is a strip. For a while, it was a strip death break glance. With a 2-turn because 2-turn cooldown, 2-turn defense break. Just for none of you some of you like non-math wizards out there, that's 100% uptime on an AoE fucking defense break. Like that's fucking broken. That never should have made it into the game. But they did their classic come to us fashion where they double buffed.
We're buffing.
Yeah. Well, they double buffed. It's like they always go too far. It's like you're gonna put him on the patch and give him 1 buff. Don't give him 2 buffs, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh fuck, we got to find out which buff was it that broke him. I don't know. Which one do we revert? Which one do we? It's
literally the Oliver issue where it's like now they're like poking at him. They're poking like some skills down, and hopefully he gets to a spot where he's okay.
Yeah, I would change this death break to branding personally, and I would give him back the ability to do it on a unit that he stripped.
No,
which is what I would do.
I think the S3 is the issue more so than the S2.
It's not though. The S3's been the same forever, and he was like a useless. He was literally considered like a storage guardian until he got a defense break.
Yeah, personally, to be honest, I feel like his S3 is. I feel like people kind of overdo his S3 about how good it is because
this is worse than Ganny in every way.
Yeah, at best you'll probably get 1 cooldown. There's a lot of matches where I get no cooldown, so I'm more just leaving the S3 alone. alone, because I feel like it's not as consistent as people think it is. When it is super consistent, it's like it's rare. It's rare when I get a 2-turn cooldown on it.
Like think about if it's turn 1, unless you get some serious pushbacks on them with another unit, you physically cannot put 2 cooldowns on them. And like
you get like 1 or 2. You get 1 or 0.
Yeah, so in people complain about like a unit like Sekhmet, like, oh, it's a double act check. Chungpung is a triple act check. If you don't land bing bang boom in a row, they have to happen consecutively. You cannot reset because you have to get them to 0, and then the next hit can cool them down. So if it is not specifically the first 2 hits that dump your bar and then the 3rd hit cooling you down, you don't get a cooldown. So you have to triple act check on every single unit. People think fucking Sekhmet, like complain about Suckmet. This is a triple act check on every unit. Like, but yeah, I mean, Ganny's S3 is better than this in every way.
Yeah. And it's also with that, it's also like he has way too many counters. Like there's Masha, there's Douglas, there's like there's Molly, there's Manor right now. Like there's so many ways to just dunk on this unit.
Nerfing some of these turn 2 units, you can't leave the turn 1 as it is either.
Yeah,
which is true.
What we're saying is it's the defense break. That it's not this S3. It's
like
not
if you remove
broken.
the defense break, it would be a big deal as well. Sure.
I think he would actually be bad again. Like I think he would go back to being a unit you probably don't use. Like
you probably don't use it anymore. Yeah. I feel like the defense break gives him the viability of just like if you have a turn 1 team, like your massive disadvantage is like you just kind of like damage. Yep. So him giving a defense break kind of allows your turn 1 team that isn't really high damage to now do adequate damage that you can like kill off some stuff. So that's why I'm like. I feel like you lead a deep. I really do feel like he's in a fine spot now because he just has a lot of counterplay. He's not as like oppressive as it used to be.
Yeah,
I'm just worried that if we're talking about nerfing Oliver and then we like assuming all our dreams come true. Oliver is nerfed at an appropriate level, and then these turn 2 units that are insanely oppressive, or not oppressive, but they just solo you, and they get toned down as well. Chungpung is just reigning supreme again. That's
I don't know because we didn't even mention like. I mean, the thing is too though, it's like if they were to take the defense break, like I think his win rate versus Riley would probably be 0%, and she's just like a fusion unit. Like a Chungpung team is never getting through a Riley Molly based team if he doesn't have a defense break he can throw up. You are not killing a damn thing, and there's nothing to reset because Riley doesn't care about resets. So it's like, and then the problem is like. I just already know, like, this S3 has been the same forever. If you nerf the S3, it's going to stay exactly the fucking same. Everyone's just going to bitch again. So it's like what, you turn it down to 60? It's the same thing. You got to land 3 act checks. It literally doesn't matter.
I guess so.
As I said, like, for now, you kind of leave them. But it's I feel like if you nerf certain units, it'll bring back other units. Like, I feel like the meta has got, like, even kind of gone away from Diana. And there was a time where we can always see a Diana. So I feel like nobody uses Diana anymore because like they feel like she's not good enough. So I feel like if you like take like lower some units, it'll bring back other units in which that were actually decent counters or less RNG, which again Diana was that. Like even nobody uses Antares anymore. Like Antares is a super rare unit now. So that even may come back and if they want to use that. Yeah.
well, unless you're Pinkroyd, who's ranked 2.
Oh yeah, that's your Pinkroyd. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Pinkroyd loves it. Loves it Antares.
I think honestly, the bigger concern, if you were to nerf like the Douglases and stuff of the world, is like Savannah coming back full force because like she was like the best unit in the game for a long time. But like,
now you never see her.
Just to be clear, like this is not because everyone's gonna go like. This happens every video, but the comments is going to be filled with like, oh, you said Manon, and then I'm going to counter you with like, this unit's going to become really good if you do the thing to Manon. And then it's like, okay, but you have to understand, this is not the final balance patch of Summoner's War's lifespan. Like, this is a cycle. Like, you go through, like, you nerf the Manon. If something really bad happens from nerfing the Manon, which is not going to happen, she's just a pure bullshit unit. She's not really gatekeeping any units right now. She's just fucking toxic.
Yeah.
But if something were to surface that it starts taking over, then you then address that unit in the next balance patch. This isn't the last balance patch ever that everyone seems to like.
But if it was,
everyone seems to take that approach with their like rebuttals in the comments, where it's like, nope, you can't nerf that because then this will be too good. It's like, okay, then you nerf that the next patch. Like, whatever, who cares?
I just want the game to go back to where if you were a turn 2 player, you were a good turn 2 player because of your runes, not because you just plop down RNG and that's how you won.
Yeah.
Like if you want to play turn 2, which is a fine style to play still, you were dedicated to like really making sure your runes are good, your artifacts are solid, and the same thing with turn 1. Because I think people kind of like turn 1 is strong, but I think people kind of don't understand like the levels of how you like to be good at turn 1. I feel like you still have to work a bit harder because
there's
especially
more
as you climb up, if you climb higher, like that's when people like have like very good like turn 2 like monsters or turn 2
they have
composition.
answers to everything that you can think
exactly.
of. Yeah.
So if you were turn 1 and you actually did well, it's because you pretty much earned that, because it is very easy for a turn 1 comp to like just start going downhill. It's very easy. For turn 2, it could go downhill, but not as fast as a turn 1. It's just how it is. So I just want the game to kind of go back to like if you play turn 1, it's because like you just have better runes if you play turn 2, you just have better runes to survive that turn 1, and then you just win immediately because they blew their load and they can't do anything now.
Yep. I mean that's always been how Levert wins and stuff like that. Like just take it on the chin, survive.
Yeah.
Like I have better runes, I win. Yep.
Hit me. And it's like, all right, that's all you got? All right, cool. I'm about to win now. And it's like, okay, and you just lose. That's just how it is. I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that. I'm fine as a turn 1 player if I was like, well, went bad, went south. Okay, I lost. Okay, and you go on to the next match. It is
pretty much my old Nyx comp was I'd ruin everything 100 res and I'd punish you if you had no accuracy. Mm-hmm. On top of being 100 res, and then Nyx's passive is that you did everything, you failed, and then you get Rika Jeaned and you move on. That was my ridiculous comp at the time. That's like old school, right? And I had no like true bullshit mechanic, right? I didn't even use Verd in that mix. But that's like kind of the game we kind of want back without the Verd, though. Personally.
Yeah, I just want the game to go back to like if you were turn 2 players because you earned it, not because like you just picked like these 4 units that just kind of dunk on me for just like clicking the skill. Like it was never like that before. Like the Manning buff, like it was still there. You would still fight stuff that kind of just like mess with you because you were a turn 1 player, but it's kind of gone to the extreme now where it's like nobody like when you Manning first pick, we're having a problem. That's a problem.
And Molly first pick too, right?
Yeah, Molly first pick, Manning first pick, Josephine first pick, Juno first pick. Okay, Juno's not that bad, but the first 3.
But even then, though, if you can first pick her when she is in theory designed to be a counter pick, then she was obviously buffed too far. If you can take a counter before you've even seen the things that she counters and be perfectly fine, you've gone too far.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I mean, like, we say, like, at the end of the day, the most we can hope for is the patch has, like, 2 nerfs that hopefully actually do something, and then maybe a buff that hits on a unit but doesn't, like, break the game. Like, it's kind of how what we have to pray for at this point with them. Like
it happens every time. And
because I don't know.
Because we were praising last balance patch. We were like, oh yeah, last balance patch, that was a great balance patch. Then we started playing and we're like, no, this isn't it.
Take us back.
This isn't it. Like, take us back. Nope. Like that's literally what happened last balance patch. So hopefully they do man.
Right. So any more turn 2 units other than we spoke about the
I have some selfish ones. Like I think Abellio is like the most ridiculous. Like he just has no inherent counters, and I just like it's just not fair. Like even if units like resetters like Oliver and stuff like that are supposed to like in theory be the counter, like Abellio is still good against those low damage style units. Like in the long run, if the Oliver just fails to reset you a single time and you can get to your heal, then you're you're still going to beat the Oliver team. Like,
Yep.
I just don't like this self-cleansing bullshit that like there's no counterplay to it. Like, oh, I did
I'm
damage,
fine.
so now it's your turn.
I'm a little bit fine with Abelio. Like,
yeah, I probably would be too if I had Tian Lang.
Because I know. Again, it's like it's not even that. I'm fine with Abelio because I feel like he's kind of in the same ballpark as Gio, where it's like if they serve their purpose, they're fine. Like
but there needs to be a way around it though. Like your opponent needs to have counterplay to him serving his purpose. Like the fact that it's just like all my debuffs are gone. It's my turn. You did damage. All my debuffs are gone. It's my turn. And I have a super short cooldown on S3. So even if you reset me, I'm a proc away. Like,
I would say if anything, like keep his cooldowns the way they are, but probably cleanse one debuff instead of all debuffs. And I think that would be okay. Like as far as just like fighting the unit. But me personally, I think he's in a fine spot. I wouldn't really change too much. I like the unit. I like Abuelo a lot. For me, he's actually pretty cool. I even pick him sometimes. He's really nice to aggressive units.
I think this is the best skill in the game that has a 3-turn cooldown. Like I don't think there's a better one. Like 3 for this, I just don't know. Like nothing else compares, especially when you combine it with a passive that gives you effectively infinite turns.
Like he's another one of those units where if you play turn 2, I feel like he's a really viable like turn 2 unit when you're fighting super aggressive turn 1. I just like him for that purpose because I even used him when I was playing turn 2, and I've always thought he was a pretty solid unit because he kind of helps keep your team alive. And if he does his job of keeping your team alive, then he's pretty much serving his purpose because that's pretty much his only purpose to begin with, just helping keep your team alive.
You're muted for us.
For us.
I think his mic just like died or something. I don't know.
He's nodded his head.
Mic check.
Yep.
Mic check. I'm good. Yeah, my daughter. Yeah. I asked my wife to buy me a new cord actually because whatever my daughter did just obliterated it. What was I saying? God damn it! I was saying I agree with Jugg on the just to keep Abelio as he is because I think about all the comps that I wish I had an ability to take him into.
Yeah, but the reason you want that is because he's broken. That's why your brain goes to a unit you don't even own because you recognize how freaking strong he is.
I just think he's nice. Me personally, I just think he's just really nice.
If your brain's going to a unit that you don't even own, then it's like
I'm just drooling over it.
No, I just don't like. I just don't like units that just don't have innate counterplay to them. Like there's got to be some counterplay to this shit. Like you can't just full cleanse yourself and steal the turn just because you took some damage.
It's just the free turn part that kind of annoys people. It's the free turn thing.
Of course,
like units that just give free turn for you playing the game.
Free turn.
Yeah, it's kind of like. It's kind of like really. It's terrible.
At least with like Triana. At least with Triana, it's like it's a preventable free turn. Like I can stun you, and then when you get your free turn, you lose it to the stun because you're fucking stunned, and you should lose your goddamn. You shouldn't be able to cut me and get out of your stun, like Josephine can. Like, God, I hate it.
If they added a cooldown on the passive somehow, like
that too. It has no passive.
I would be okay with that. Yeah, I would like that. Like, those are skills where like if they added like a small tweak, I would be okay with that. But it's like in his current state, I think he's totally fine. Like he's not even my biggest annoyance. Like me personally, my biggest annoyance is Ankiyoki. I feel like that unit. It's like Ankiyoki is a unit I feel like has counters, but for some reason he feels uncounterable. I don't understand that unit.
Yeah, it's because it's like even his quote unquote counters are like
not good enough.
It's like they're so situational. It's like, okay, dots counter him. Yeah, if you get him to fucking 5% health and then have a unit that has a dot on your team, and then you land the dot, and then it's like, and then he doesn't get healed before the dot trigger. It's like there's so many factors there. That's not exactly really a counter
dynamic, but it's close to the Douglas dynamic. But it's still not as bad as the Douglas dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, Douglas is like, Douglas just breaks the fabric of the game. It's just like he just goes outside. He's just out of bounds. Like that's the only way.
When you have to ruin a unit high attack just because there's a chance you may fight this unit, there's a problem. Because what if I don't fight this unit?
Yeah. But even
I
then,
take my box to fight this unit, which is a problem.
And even then, it's a double-edged sword because in order to do that, you have to now get squishier. And now, in the form of being squishier, you're now technically weaker to Douglas because you're still not going to have higher attack than him. So even if you go high attack, you're not higher than him. So now he can revenge you, and you went squishier because you went high attack. So now you die faster. It's like.
And plus, on top of that, we have a lot of units that can glance now. So you can pair him with Molly, or you can pair him with just anybody that can throw out a glance. And it's like now you're just in a very, very rough spot if you fight this unit and he's on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, I fight him all the time. I first picked Daphnis. I've had situations where I go to S3 Douglas with Daphnis, and like I'm getting the crit animation. I'm actually about to kill this thing, and then I get parried. And then now it's like, okay, well,
I thought you were gonna say glance. And you're like,
no, I'm saying like I got the crit animation. I know this thing is about to die, and then you get parried, and then it's like, well, that was my fucking chance. Like now, Hellfire's on cooldown.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I lose now. Like that was my window. The window's now gone. The window's closed. I lose now.
Oh, fuck. Okay, and we were talking about personal gripes because we're done talking about turn 1, turn 2s. I guess.
Yeah, because I mean, we'll wrap it up in a minute.
There's not much for me personally, besides those like 6.
Robos.
No.
Do we have to talk about
we're ending the podcast. I swear to God, if they nerf the only viable turn 1 stripper that's not an LD5, I am done.
The reason I can kind of understand Firas is because we're Tian Lang owners, and that's the reason why I feel like he has a gripe with Robos.
Who?
I promise you, it's not because of him just shitting on my Tian Lang.
Yeah,
but it's that S2 cooldown is like non-existent.
It sucks too much too. I'm okay. Okay, I'm okay with Robos because I find them as double-edged sword units where it's like they do all that, but if you literally like blow on them, they're dead. Like they're super dead.
Their base stats are total fucking
trash.
garbage.
Their base stats are trash.
With no awakening.
You literally just be like, and it just dismantles and destroys and self-explodes.
They lose to everything we just named.
Yeah,
Juno, Josephine, Douglas, Kinky, Zingzay. They lose to everything we just named.
Yeah,
they still lose to them.
Yeah,
it's like
I think
I'm annoyed by them.
Super effective against me. That's all it is. Robos just obliterate my life.
Well, they killed mid range because like mid range comps are never. You're just not gonna get a turn. Robos just won't let you get a turn.
Mid range.
Yeah, if you fight a Robo, you pretty much either have to ban it or you have to outspeed it or you lose.
Yeah,
this is no way.
But the Douglas is there too. I can't ban both.
Well, the thing is though, it's like I'm okay with a unit that has the dynamic of outspeed it or lose when they have 101 base speed, no leader skill, and terrible base stats. Because now there's like a rune quality aspect where it's like units like Ethna, where it's like, okay, outspeed it or you lose. Well, that's not that. If she was that good to where it was like outspeed it or lose, we'd have a problem because she has 119 base speed, right? Like, how the fuck do you outspeed that? Like, realistically, that's why like Yan Hong is so powerful because you get into these situations where it's like, if I don't outspeed this Yan Hong, I'm gonna get fucking destroyed. But how do I outspeed the Yan Hong? It's 116 base speed. At least Robos have that restriction.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, they're scarier with like more LD oriented drafts, and there's some people that like really like opt into like making their Robos are pretty good. But overall, like I'm fine with the unit. I do kind of have the gripe with their S2 and how much it soaks way too much attack bar in my opinion. It's a lot.
And they can use it.
Yeah,
that's my only gripe.
But personally, it's like again, you can leave them alone. I'm not gonna complain about them.
But the main reason why that is like what you said with like if you just basically once the opponent gets a turn with something that deals any form of damage, they die. So it's like that's why they gain so much bar because if they didn't give themselves another turn, they're probably not getting another turn.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah. So
it's like if you didn't gain 100 bar back, then they're then the Masha just kills you, and then you just never even get to use your other skill, basically. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just going to keep using, because I finally started using Robo, and my god, is it good. And I'm going to keep using it until that S2 has an additional cooldown, because I know it's fucking coming. There's no way it's not happening. You guys can... It's fine.
Not this
You
patch.
guys can say it's fine. Oh, yeah, that's happening. Dude, no, it's fucking happening.
I still remember SWC in New York when we were all in New York and Ricky picked Robo. I cannot tell you, if you were not in that building to to see everybody just lose their freaking mind and start cheering when he picked that Robo. Like, that was like great. So I will give props to Ricky, because like you had to be in the building when that happened in New York. We were all like losing our minds when he won with the Robo. It was like super cool. So I'm glad this unit like is in a good spot, because they weren't before. But now we're in a spot where it's like, okay, like does he do a little too much? But I do kind of agree. Like, if he gets blown on, he's just dead. He's just super duper dead.
I'm cool with a turn 1 unit that doesn't have anything that makes him like
crazy,
uncounterable. Like I don't know. Like, Veronica feels even to not go to an LD5, like Moore. If this was a turn 1 meta, Moore is the type of unit that feels uncounterable, because it's like, he has really good base stats. He has the speed lead, and even if I outspeed him, he has the passive. So it's like he feels uncounterable. Whereas like with Robo, it's like I can go hard to turn 2 and just fucking destroy him with Douglas and Josephine and whatever, or I can go hard turn 1 because he's just 101 base speed and doesn't have a speed lead. Like, there's a million ways around this unit.
I think I'm just missing that turn 2 aspect stuff that makes me like cry.
Well, the problem is like you're not in, but you're trying to do mid range, so that's not hard turn 2 or hard turn 1.
No, but I don't have the other.
I understand, but what I'm saying is Robo is countered by both of those archetypes. You just happen to be playing the archetype that he is not countered by and is actually very good against.
Yeah, right? You don't have Abuelo or Juno, so you're kind of in a weird spot.
Myself. So I'm just punching myself. Is what it is. I keep hitting myself.
In regards to Robo, but your comp is good against different stuff.
But now I'm taking the Robo. I'm actually liking it a lot. And but the thing is, I'm seeing as I curb stomp people with it, because I just keep spamming that S2 because mine's on Vio. It just never goes away.
Well, he crushes those people who try to go like Oliver mid range, where they go Oliver the 33 and then pick no Swift units, and then it's like, well, now I just ban your Oliver, and now my Robo goes first, and you're probably never gonna move. Like, those teams, like, I get why that person is probably like, this fucking unit's so good, but it's like, that is, you are playing the exact team that this unit is supposed to be. You can't just not bring a Swift unit, let it go first, and then be like, man, that unit's too strong. Like, it's 101 base speed. You could have outsped it if you wanted to.
Well, they banned my Ethna. What do you want me to do? You know my Ethna.
Lose. That's your
like, if I can take Ethna Abelio, cool. Ethna Juno, cool. Ethna what? It doesn't matter.
Well, it's like the Ethna Oliver thing, right? Because now it's like now I'm threatening you with speed, but I'm also threatening you with, if you leave a 33, my whole team might just get out in front of your Robo, and then good luck. He probably just dies.
Oliver, like, high base speed is a thing right now.
Yeah. But yeah, we can call it there. This was a pretty long one, so nice. I don't know if you guys have any closing thoughts, but
tell us about your LD blessing, Jugg.
Oh god.
Oh, did I have one? I said this on Instagram. It's like, even though I have the LD blessing, like, I don't expect it to pop anytime soon. It could be tomorrow, it could be next year, it could be never. So when it does pop, I'll be telling everybody. People will know. But like, for the most part, it's just there. When it pops, I'll let you guys know. You'll know.
Do you think everyone should have one though? Whether or not they dupe LD, do you think everyone should have one?
That's kind of a tricky question, because I feel like we are getting into a point where I kind of agree with like what Stoic said. I feel like LD should be rare and hard to get. So I feel like if we get into a point where like LDs are getting a little too easy to get, it's a little problematic. Which are kind of getting into that kind of category where LDs are a little too easy to get. Because we have so much.
The blessing doesn't even change that though. You still have to organically summon a You still only get one LD. It's not like you get both of them.
It's like, even though I have it, I still have to summon an LD5, which is hard to do to begin with.
The quantity of LD5s doesn't change with a blessing. It's just on average, the quality that people pull is probably better. And I think that's a good thing because CompTOS can't fucking balance these units. There's some of them that are such a massive rip and have been for years. Jara has been bad for fucking 7 years. Like, if you can have this resource in the game that could potentially save somebody from pulling this unit that you can't figure out how to balance, that I think that's good for everybody involved.
So I don't think it should be as accessible, but I feel like if they do make it accessible, you have to. If you don't have a dupe LD5, you kind of do have to give up a lot to get it. But there has to be kind of a push and pull thing where it's like, people should be able to get one, but it's like if you choose to get one because you weren't unlucky to get a dupe, like you should be able to be like, okay, I want it, but I'll sacrifice like 5 L5, not 5s, and just go from there.
Yeah,
so
that's the exact price that I said on the podcast too. I said 1,500. So that's just 5 regular element nat 5. And I think if you do that, you also have to put something else in the shop with that you can spend LD5 crystals on. So like I use the example of like ancient legend grinds where it's like, so now you can choose, do I buy ancient legend grinds or do I pay 5 regular element nat 5s to get this LD blessing? Like you should have a choice, because otherwise it's like, I don't know, most people it's like, well, why wouldn't I just hang on to my LD5 and we just never feed the LD5 dupe and we just always pay for it with regular element ones, you know.
How I just say at the end of the day is, me personally at the end of the day, how I saw it was, this is an update purely for the whales because all the whales wanted this. Like every whale you talk to wanted something like this because they were all complaining. A bunch of LD5s, dupe LD5s, they're just sitting around. I want to be able to do something with it. So CompTOS was like, okay, here you go. You can do something with it. So the whales are extremely freaking happy while pretty much everybody else is kind of like, do we want this?
Everyone else is just, which side of the fence you're on comes down to did you pull an LD5 dupe or not?
Or not? Yeah, literally.
Like that's all the comments were in the last video. Like the other attitude that is really starting to piss me off with some people though, it's like when I suggested that there should be some other way to get this blessing, this like there was several comments that was like, well then what should I get for having a dupe LD5? And it's like, why are you owed something for having pulled a dupe LD5? Like, what do you mean? What should you get?
I was content with 2 Rahuls. I was not walking the contours like, yo, I just dupe Rahul. I should be able to do something with it. I'm like it's
you're not owed anything because you clicked the summon button and an LD5 came out and it just so happened to be one you already owned. Like you're not owed something. Like it's like where did this attitude even come from? No one was saying that until the day the blessing comes out, and now it's like, oh well, you want to give it to other people? Well then what are you going to give me? And it's like, what the fuck? What did you do to deserve this shit? What did you do? Summon half as many scrolls as me and pull 10 times as many LDs? That makes you deserve it? Like
people standing on their thrones.
I said, like, if you pulled a dupe LD5, you should have just got this blessing for free at no expense of your own.
Yeah.
Just fucking have one. It's such an unfortunate thing, sure.
How is it? Okay, I'm not gonna get back into this.
Listen,
you are not unlucky to have pulled an LD5. I don't give a fuck. I don't.
It's kind of 2 parts of it. It's like you're unlucky that it's a dupe, but at the same time, you're
pulled an outrageously lucky to have triggered the LD5 in the first place.
Yeah, so it's a 50-50 thing of unlucky. But at the same time, it's like you still pulled an LD5. You know what I mean? So it's like it kind of is what it is at that point. It's like you beat the odds. Some people play this game for 8 years and don't get nothing, where it's like some people play the game for 8 years and they get everything. So it's kind of like it's a 50-50 thing. It's like I pulled a dupe LD5 within a week of each other. Like at that point I was sad, but at the same time I was like, it is what it is. I pulled a dupe LD5, he'll just stay on my island, whatever.
I mean, in an alternate in 10,000 alternate universes, that scroll that summoned the dupe Rahul was just an at 3, so who cares? Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's not like
what I'm trying to say is that wrong. Okay, sure. No, shut up.
I'm trying to say, you pulled a dupe, it sucks. You get a free blessing, but we should still, as non-dupe owners, still have a way to get this blessing, and that's it. It's not that you need to hold an edge for the rest of your life because you pulled a dupe. It's a shitty edge, but it's an edge nonetheless.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's all I'm saying.
In the question that I have for those people too, though, it's like, so you deserve this thing, right? Because you just were so unfortunate, so unlucky to have pulled another LD5, and it just so happens to be one of the ones you already own. So what do you say to the people who, what if tomorrow Firas pulls a non-dupe Dorothy? He can't feed it because it doesn't allow you. So now who's unlucky? He's now stuck with fucking Dorothy, can't feed it, and still is back in the position of never having an LD blessing. It's like, so what is he owed? And most of you are probably going to say nothing. He got an LD5. He's not owed anything. And that's exactly my fucking point. You're not owed anything. So why do you get this advantage from now until the end of time over anybody who doesn't pull a dupe just because you just one of your scrolls just so happened to have a dupe? Like,
that's why I said, like, this update was purely for the whales, because it's like that's what the whales wanted.
Yeah.
So the cops was just like, hey, we gotta keep our whales happy. So hey, here you go.
It just gets to the point where those guys are sending in enough tickets or reaching out to enough people like, hey guys, I'm going to stop buying scrolls. I'm just getting the same fucking ones over and over again, and there's literally nothing to do with them. Because that's why this patch came out of nowhere. There was no pre-patch notes. There was nothing. It just hit the game. Like, something just flipped the switch.
As soon as they announced it, they dropped it like 5 hours later. Because like I remember Jonathan was asking me, he's like, do you know when the update drops? I was like, oh, well, they announced it today, so probably like a Thursday. And like, no, it happens tonight. And Jonathan was like,
oh shit, yeah,
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Like, he's ready to well.
Jonathan reminds me, like this, and I like, so you guys understand, like, some buses. So John, he has more than one blessing. Let's say he only had one blessing. He has five. But let's say he had one. He procced his blessing. He had the choice between a dupe ragdoll or a Nagong.
Nagong, yeah.
Would you listen? Would you take the brand new Nagong if you only had one blessing? Or would you take the dupe ragdoll, feed it, and get another blessing chance to pull something that's not a fucking Nagong?
I would always do the ragdoll if it were to get me a new, because it's like that is how disgustingly valuable that blessing is.
Yeah.
That, like,
this is a real example that has happened. Well, it's not real because he has multiple blessings.
Yeah. So for him, it's a no-brainer to take the new one. But
would you take the dupe ragdoll to feed it and get another 2 units? Get something that's actually good, or either has a really high chance of getting buffed, or you can take the Nagong, which is most likely never gonna drastically.
It's always gonna be some arena defense style.
Yeah.
Like,
there you go.
Yeah, for me personally, if it was a dupe or like a sub-tier LD5, I'm gonna take the dupe because I want something that's super busted. Like me, I'm gonna speak from my perspective because I am not a whale and I have one, but I'm guaranteeing you right now, if it was between a dupe or like, I don't know, like a SEMA, I'm taking a dupe because I want either Veronica, I want Nephthys, I want Yoki. A SEMA I probably wouldn't take though. I wouldn't take personally.
What? I thought you were gonna go to.
I like a SEMA. Don't get me wrong, but I would aim higher. I would aim like you're gonna aim higher.
I think a more realistic is like a Sylvia or something.
Yeah, like, just
like total,
I'll go.
Total dog shit
like Sylvia,
unit. Like
Dorothy, even like Beelzebub or like the Bay. It's like if that happened, I'm definitely taking the dude.
Yeah, I'm not
taking
not even a question.
This is the perfect example, though. You just explain yourself. Like, you have that choice now.
I'm gonna aim higher,
and no one else can do it
until your blessing pops a double new. That option exists for you. I don't care how rare it is to pop that LD5 blessing. That choice exists for you permanently until you pick the unit. Well, not permanently. Until you hit a double new or one dupe and a shitty one. And then you keep going until like, wow, I got a really good fucking unit. Yoink. Yep. You don't care about your blessing anymore.
I just think for like I said, like a non-well, if it does pop, I think you have to aim high. Like you pretty much have to go for like the top of the top and nothing else. because that's your only chance.
Something.
Like you have to aim for like a very very top end unit, or you just don't take it. And if that ever did happen with you, like you just got to do it.
And then now you have people feeding non-dupe 6-star units they built years ago
with Devilmons.
They're crazy.
LDs with they're Devilmon, they're skilled up, they're whatever, they're fully invested. They're feeding them to fucking get LD schools.
And that's why I kind of somewhat agree with you of like it has to be somewhat accessible, because we've gotten to the point where people are just like they're going crazy because they understand how strong this thing is that they're like, you know what Nat5s do I have that I don't use anymore? I need this blessing. It gotta go. Like I gotta get this blessing.
I really need this Brandia.
Like it's like I haven't used this unit in a while. You know what?
It's pandemonium right now because that is how strong that blessing is, that only a select few people right now have access to, that it's like, I need to pop this ASAP. Like
ASAP. Yeah, that's everyone right now. They're just going in.
Because like now's the time. Like eventually I would imagine eventually that blessing will be accessible. So like now's the time, like you have the advantage of a lifetime people are fucking going for. I still wouldn't do it, even if I had... If for whatever reason I had a dupe within my 2 LD5s I've summoned, I would not feed to try to like force these scrolls out, because that's just crazy. But I also can kind of understand where these people are coming from, because
I don't blame them.
They're chasing the biggest advantage that they've ever had in Summoner's War.
Don't blame them. Because especially if you're a Guardian player, getting that one good LD5 can push you over the barrier.
Everything,
It pushes you over the barrier. So it's a super good thing to have, to the point where like it's crazy. Contour is probably sitting in a building like, how do we make our LD packs more valuable? Now it's like the LD packs are anything that has an LD in it. It just became like the most valuable thing if you're like a Guardian player.
Yeah,
it's
but
so
I
valuable.
I think they made a mistake, at least from my perspective, because I'm not buying an LD pack until I have that blessing. At that point, I'm just burning. I'm just literally throwing money away buying devalued scrolls, because I'm not going to have a choice of what comes out. I'm going to get, if that scroll has a Dorothy, I'm getting a Dorothy. I don't have a way around it. Whereas other people, they now have a way around it. So like for me, they lost my money. I always bought LD packs. Until I have that blessing, I'm not going to waste my money.
That's why I said it's like the upper echelon of whales.
Yeah,
like,
but I just don't think, I don't know if they calculated that other side of it, where it's like, you've now devalued the scroll for probably a larger portion of the population than the portion that you increased the value of the LD scroll for. So, I mean, only time will tell if it was a good decision or not. I don't think it was, unless 9th year anniversary has some way to obtain it or something. I don't know.
Everybody's like predicting like either an LD Legendary or LD Transcendence. I don't think we're ever gonna get to a point on LD Transcendence. I really think like this is a way of like because people always say that, but I feel like Common is doing everything they can to like give us more access to LDs without dropping an LD Transcendence or LD Legendary. Like I think this is their way of like doing that without ever going to the point of dropping those 2 scrolls.
Yeah.
So like I don't feel like we're ever gonna get an LD Trans. I know people are probably kind of predicting that because of it, but I just feel like that's kind of the boat that we're in right now, where it's like they want more LD access without having to go to that point.
Yeah, LD Legendary. Oh my god, if they actually did that and there still wasn't a way for people without dupes to get the blessing, and now all of a sudden there's LD Legendary and some people have blessings for it, oh my god, it's so unfair. That might be my last day on this game.
That's why I said
LD4 blessings. How did we skip LD4 blessings?
We skipped everything. I can't believe they went right to blessing.
Because they know LD5s are the way to go if they want to make money in this game, especially right now. Because like me personally, I have like I have like most Nat5s besides Zabala, so it's just kind of like I don't care about anything that does an LD right now. If it's an LD scroll, I don't care too much about it.
Yeah,
personally,
I still want LD4s, man.
Me too. I'm missing all the good ones.
I saw the Tableau yesterday, but I still don't have a Molly. Like I still don't have a Molly.
Disgusting amount of LD4s summoned in my time, and I'm missing damn near all the good ones.
A lot of problems I bitch about would probably be solved if I own a Tableau.
Me too. I want it so bad. But all right, we can call it there.
Okay, let's go.
We're dragging.
Yeah, we're dragging at this.
But yeah,
that
thanks again for joining us. Much appreciated. And yeah, good luck with the rest of your season.
I hope his blessing is going to be Grog and Wedget.
Okay, goodbye.